Samsung make the Galaxy S25 Ultra. But what if Apple did instead? Let's go. I've been monitoring a lot of the critiques and the rhetoric around the Galaxy S25 Ultra since it was announced a couple of weeks ago in San Jose. A lot has been said, a lot of first impressions have kind of changed as people got their hands on the phone, like I said, and also a lot of people are now starting to realize what this phone is about. Mistakes or omissions that Samsung have made kind of start to melt away when you actually use it. But the thing is, what I kind of started to think is, what if Apple made the S25 Ultra? What if, with their track record of hardware that they put out, they put this out with the experience of the software and One UI 7 on top of it? What if this was their phone? And it got me thinking. I think the whole perspective and narrative around the hardware that's on here would change. People would no longer be sitting there and critiquing the things that it doesn't have, and they would focus on the fact that, wow, look at what Apple have actually done. So let's break it down by the device itself and look at what's here, and then if Apple had made it, what people would probably say about it. I don't want this to come across as Apple bashing or reviewer bashing. This isn't the concept of what this video is meant to be. It's purely meant to be a bit of a take that can finally make people start to maybe appreciate what we have here and what Samsung have achieved. Starting with, I guess, the design and the form factor. If Apple had packed in a 5,000 milliamp battery into this sleek 8.2 millimeter form factor that weighs 218 grams, with bezels as slim as this, an anti-reflective coating on the display, and always on display like this, in a design that feels this good, people would be falling over themselves to talk about it. Not only that, it would include the Apple Pencil that comes with it that you can write and interact with on the screen. Forget the fact that it doesn't have Bluetooth. Obviously, we know Samsung have had it before, but the fact that this design could pack all this in, if Apple had made this, there would be absolute carnage on the internet from people talking about how innovative and how progressive Apple are with their hardware. I have absolutely no doubt about that, because when they do anything, whether it be upgrade a camera, whether it be put the dynamic island in, people talk about that design choice like it was a genius move. I get that not everyone does, but the wider community flock to it. So if they did this, if they put this design out there would be immense praise from the reviewer community who talk about how polished and how innovative and progressive Apple have made their hardware. But because Samsung have done it, because they have removed or not done things that the rest of the market is starting to include, there's a bit of criticism. No silicon carbon battery that isn't 6,000 milliamp hours. No 65 watt plus fast charging in that battery. That starts to, I guess, become a criticism of the phone that was never meant to have it in the first place. Whereas I think with iPhones, their phone wouldn't cop that criticism, or they don't. Their battery is a sub 5,000 milliamp hour battery capacity. So even if this lasts a really long time, and it doesn't matter, because the number on the spec sheet seems to matter more than the actual performance. The other part of the design, I guess, is the camera housing. Everyone's leveling it as cheap and plastic because you can remove them with a knife with a lot of pressure applied to it. Come on, give me a break. I actually like this camera ring design. And again, had Apple dared to do something different than their triangle oven that they have going on up there, people would be like, wow, look at what Apple have created. This floating minimalist camera that looks like it's just sitting above the rear of the device. And it's got the black ring. Oh, I bet you they've done that because it's a coating to help reflect the sunlight and stop it from hitting the lens and stopping lens flare. Finally remembered it for a video. That to me is what I would think from a design standpoint we would potentially be hearing. Obviously, it would all depend on what Apple would have launched the year before. But if we isolate this, if they just put this out tomorrow with an Apple logo here in the middle, nothing but praise. I think that praise would extend to the cameras, because even though people are complaining that there's no 3 times upgrade, it's still a 10 megapixel camera with an old hardware sensor. I get it. Like 100% I get it. But again, if Apple did it, with this exact set of cameras, people would start to praise the flexibility. Look at what Apple is offering you for your money. The fact they've got a massive high resolution sensor, the fact they've got a high resolution telephoto zoom, a high resolution ultra wide, and sandwiched in between that, they've got an option to have a mid-range zoom as well. My goodness, what an offering. I may be going a little bit too extreme, but my point is that I think we are judging Samsung very, very harshly based on the fact that it's Samsung. When we start to think about the other brands that are starting to downgrade their cameras to fit different hardware in because it's difficult to accommodate a complex set of cameras and launch it globally, mind you, cost of manufacturing, cost of the goods that they're using, all that factors in. Samsung is still using a very capable camera setting here. And I know the Ultra name means it should deserve Ultra hardware, but the experience is Ultra. I think when you actually use the phone and use the cameras, the experience of them is Ultra. It gives you a lot, not just in the hardware, not just in the software and the processing, but the camera modes. If Apple had a mode called single take, there would not be an influencer that uses iPhones that wouldn't be making content about it every single week. The single take function is so powerful as a tool. I just can't believe it's not talked about more. But because it's Samsung, we kind of just expect it to be there as opposed to remembering how powerful of a feature that could be. Or dual recording. I remember a couple of years ago, Apple still can't do this natively. You need a third-party app to record and preview the other cameras whilst recording video. But this can do it natively in the camera whilst also capturing and saving both files. There's so much that this camera can do. And the fact is, again, I stress, if Apple did it, if they put this camera system into an iPhone with the camera modes and the processing that came with it, we would hear so much about how amazing Apple are when it comes to flexibility of cameras. We just would. I know we would, because whenever they launch something that Android has had for a while, people are out there talking about, oh my God, widgets. Oh my God, we can move this stuff around the home screen. You get my point. And then the performance specs. If this chip, the 8 Elite for Galaxy, was on an iPhone, again, we would not hear the end of it. I think because it's not necessarily Samsung exclusive, although it is, the Galaxy part is exclusive to Samsung. No other smartphone brand has this chip in here. I think we would see everyone talking about the raw performance of an iPhone and how the oneui 7 software is so optimized and blended with that performance. And it is. Like the 8 Elite for Galaxy was worked on in conjunction with Samsung and Qualcomm to develop oneui 7 to be a higher standard. And the fluidity you get from oneui 7 because of that is down to that collaboration process. Again, I don't want it to be sounding like I'm bashing Apple or bashing reviewers. There's Samsung and Apple in the smartphone game at the premium end, and both of them have to consider a lot. They ship globally. No one ships in the volume, especially the premium market, that Apple does. So they probably have to make decisions about hardware that other manufacturers never even have to consider. What countries they're shipping in, the scale of hardware they need to. Apple also aren't a hardware manufacturer. They source their components from other manufacturers and pretty much compile them together into a phone that they've designed. Samsung kind of don't have that problem, in a way. They make pretty much all of their components themselves, like the SSDs, make a lot of the camera lenses themselves, the displays, Samsung display. Like there's not as much friction there compared to what Apple have got, but they still have the global shipping. So they can probably innovate the hardware a little bit more, which is why we see stuff like this. Oh, sorry. Can you imagine if iPhones had Samsung DeX? Just for a moment, think about how it would be if iPhones suddenly had the capability of becoming a desktop PC. I don't think we would hear the end of it. Our Twitter feeds, our Instagrams would be flooded with information about how you can turn your iPhone into your computer, and you don't need a MacBook anymore. There's a video coming about DeX on here soon, so hit subscribe. And the last point too is Galaxy AI. It's actually been quite interesting in the last few days to see how much people are starting to appreciate how good Galaxy AI is, especially when it comes to removing objects from photos. It's been quite a hot topic. Shout out to Mark's Tech, who pretty much started that trend a couple of days ago. Apple intelligence is nowhere near the level of Galaxy AI. But if it was the other way around, if Galaxy AI was Apple intelligence, we would not hear the end of it. There would be no excuses being made. If Apple intelligence was Galaxy AI, the world would be trashing on Samsung for its poor quality AI attempt, and it would just absolutely put it down in the gutter. It's sad that it's so easy to imagine that what it would be like if Apple had made this phone. Again, I don't want it to sound like I'm bashing on Apple or bashing on reviewers, because I'm not. I think everyone is entitled to feel how they feel, and I understand the landscape of how it is to review an iPhone and to review a Samsung. It's much easier to be more critical of this than it is critical of an iPhone, particularly if you're in that reviewer bubble of iPhones. Apple don't necessarily like negative feedback. Even in the world I've come from, I've seen that firsthand. Samsung, I feel like, is a little bit more open to criticism and acknowledging things maybe when they haven't gone so well. They're always humble enough to ask how they can improve. And in the past, you've seen versions of that, when the SD card got removed from the Galaxy S6, 1 year later, it was back on the Galaxy S7. However, I think this time we're seeing a bit of a sterner Samsung, one who maybe has a bit of a longer term approach to their device lineup and is trying to stick with it and has an end goal in mind. I'm curious to see where it goes, especially when it comes to like the standard slab flagship phone. Are they trying to make this as sort of standard as possible to make room for the more innovative foldables as they kind of grow in stature? Or is this still going to be the pinnacle for the next few years? Anyway, let me know what you would think people would say if this had an Apple logo on it. Let me know if you would buy it if it had an Apple logo on it. If it was this and it did everything that it did, I'd give it a go because it does what it can, especially with things like the S Pen and Samsung DeX. Imagine if the iPhones had an S Pen. Oh, madness. Anyway, hit subscribe, Tech with Benefits. Plenty more content still to come. And I'll see you guys in the next one. You.